In this video, I'm going to show you the full plan I wish I had when I entered the vibe coding space. Because to be honest, I see all these AI tools. I'm sure you see them as well. And you say, how can I make this all work together? And I don't want to get into Cursor, for example, because it's too intimidating. I think it's for tech people. So what should I do? How can I use AI tools to create my MVPs? And after trial and error and painful, endless nights of going through this, I get it now, and this is the plan that I follow with practical considerations and answering your most common questions that I see on other YouTube videos. That being said, let's jump into this video and let me give you the sauce. So, if you're new to this channel and don't know who I am, my name is Adham Alkhaja. I sent a couple of satellites into outer space, pursued my PhD in aerospace engineering, started a space company, started a SaaS company, raised funding for that. You can see I'm here featured in the news, talking to very notable people. This is from our satellites, by the way. And then a couple of other things happened throughout my lifetime in the past 10 years. And then I decided to just leave it all aside, even though the success was there, and go to the desert with the calm sand. But then AI happened and AI called me back. And here I am making these videos because AI spoke to me saying that, remember that childhood dream you had? You wanted to be like Iron Man, you wanted Jarvis, and so on. Now it's possible. So come back, build that, and then you can go back to your desert with your camels and so on. So today's topic, and this is very important for me to explain to you because I want you to know that I've been through this process for the past 10 years and I really understand all the nuances in the business and also the tech space as well. So to build a wildly profitable business, you need two parts to the equation. One is the entrepreneur, which is you, which is me, which is the human element within the business. And then we have the business itself. Today, we're going to talk about the business where we're going to look at an idea, bring it to life using AI, all these tools at the top over here. But the entrepreneur is also important because entrepreneurs, the belief systems we have is what guides us into this motion or in this journey that we go on to. For example, I'm creating this video right now because of a belief system I had that I want more visibility. I want XYZ out of these videos. You're watching this video on based on the belief you have saying that I want to make money out of this AI wave and so on. So all of us have different beliefs, and certain beliefs get us to the place or the north star or the outcome that we want. That's a different topic for a different day, but today we're going to focus on the business side. And for the business side of things, what we're going to focus on is how can we get case studies out of clients, meaning how can we get world class results for the clients? Because if you think about it, if you're solving a problem and you use AI to solve that problem, you're essentially getting a client to get a result. You're not coming to strangers and telling them, hey, be committed in my solution. Here's the solution, use it and get results. You may get feedback from strangers, the interested one, of course, but this is the customer acquisition side and this is the client delivery side. We're going to focus on client delivery, and that's the main point of the full picture of where we're going into business. And that being said, let's get started because this is going to be different than the usual. I'm going to live build everything with you from start so you can see the full process. So I don't know if you noticed this or you've seen it. There's a line over here by Ramp. This is on the news. This is very recent, by the way, saying that we are looking for a vibe growth marketing manager. Using the word vibe is extreme to me because I mean, this is a trend that's going on within our space, but they're tapping into culture for sure. And they're saying that we're looking for a vibe growth marketing manager who is a builder who prototypes and shifts faster than most teams can spec a brief. You'll use AI tools, LLMs, and no code to low code, meaning NA10 and all these tools, smart automations, and so on. And look at the compensation over here, the department over here. You can see the details, of course. What I'm trying to say is that what we're going to do in today's video is exactly this process, going from zero to hero, where you're going to become this vibe growth, not in this case marketing manager, but this case called the vibe growth business manager, and so on. And I was thinking for an idea for this video, and I haven't seen this, but I was looking for an idea for this video, and I said, why not go into Y Combinator and look at their companies in the company startup directory and see a proven idea that's there that has been funded. So I saw this one over here saying that Patty is an AI relationship management platform. So I thought, okay, there's real estate brokers. A lot of them are here in the UAE, and there are many other agencies and so on. They really rely on relationships, so why not build this out? I'm sure if I look even further within the companies, I'm going to find something better. But for our use case, let's just jump on this idea. But if you want to do it properly, what you can do is you can go ask Manus or different tools or Perplexity in particular. You can go on that tool and say, how or what idea or what pain point does this particular target avatar have, and what can I deliver really fast on as an MVP. I've done that many times, and you can do that, and you can go with the pain points over there within your niche or market. But we're not going to go into details. And the second reason I chose this, of course, was I when I visited their website. Look at this. It's like it's nice, and they're not using caps, for example. They're breaking this pattern over here, and I'm not sure, but I think this is like from Midjourney or something. And then there's a video over here, and I wanted to watch the video so we can extract details about this, so we can start building the build process. And I watched the video, but I want to show you, in case you are somewhere you don't want to watch long videos, or you don't want to do other things. I'm going to show you how can you try extract the transcript and go into Chat GPT about this and so on. So very quickly, to show you the roadmap that we're going to follow over here. I made this on Claude, by the way. Let me put this over here. So this is the roadmap. And I was looking at the questions and the comments of different YouTube videos, and they mentioned this one thing. Okay, amazing. You guys are doing vibe marketing. You guys are doing vibe coding. Everyone is talking about this vibe thing that's going on, but there's no roadmap or structure to it. Like, nobody's talking about how exactly, for can someone come into the space and go through a certain set of series of processes or sequence of processes in order to get this done. And this is exactly what I created. I just took inspiration from Claude, the idea, and so on. And we're going to get into details of that. But this is what I made out, where you're going to go into the tools and we're going to fill everything out. And I have a couple of questions, or let's say based on the comments that you've been asking on the YouTube sections and the comments area, I'm going to answer them over here because I had the same questions and I got them answered as well. That being said, if you have an idea right now for a business and you want to bring that idea to life, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and brainstorm with ChatGPT o3 or Cloud Opus 4, or Sonnet 4 works as well. But the main point is you want to go talk to these LLMs and stress test the idea you have to make sure it's a good idea. And in this case, let's go on ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you this exact process, how I would do it and how I would go about an idea, because I recorded a similar video in the morning, but in full details for my clients so they can run with this. But now let's just go into, and I'm going to show you live how we're going to build this out. So this was from this morning. So let's open a new chat. We come here. What's on the agenda today? So let's just write together. I have an idea for a web app, and the web app details are as follows. Let's write this. Let's go here. And in this case, we're going to use this web app. So we're going to take the details over here. There are better ways to do this. I mean, if you can scrape the website and so on, there are better ways to do this. But just for the sake of this video, let's say I don't want to explain to it exactly. I just want to take this and I want to clone it. I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste it over here. Then I'm going to go get the YouTube transcript of that video, generate, copy. Okay, come over here and just add it at the bottom like this. I'm showing the raw version of how you can do this. So you click over here and you make sure it's O3. And let's see what happens. Thinking. So the user shared their idea. This is the platform they're building, but hasn't explicitly asked. By the way, this is all for education purposes. I'm not saying anything. This is just a disclaimer. We're just going to try. I just want to show you the process. Any idea works. So this is the problem. This is the big promise. You can go through these ideas in detail. This is the core objective to be done. This is the key features for the MVP. This is the user flow. Essentially, this is how the user flow, the technical stack. And I think this is tapping into my knowledge base, because things that it's mentioning over here is very relevant to what I use and what I do. You may not get a similar answer. The point is you will get an answer, and with that answer, you're going to refine it over and over again until you just be fully convinced on this idea. And I'm going to tell you what's the next step you're going to do. But be fully convinced with this idea, and I'm going to assume this is the idea that I'm convinced with. Okay, amazing. So let's go back to the Claude Code over here. So I'm going to start brainstorming. So this process where you may take 15 minutes a day, you just going through voice notes and so on, refining your idea. Once you refine that idea, you click check and you go to the next one. So this is a very important one. I found that increases the, let's say, the UI and UX of the MVP you're building out. I use Perplexity Labs. I tell it, okay, I'm building this type of application. Can you give me the best practices in terms of UI, UX, and experiences people go through on these top platforms? What do they do? Let's say, how many tabs do they have? If they have a dashboard, how many menu items they have? How do they put icons or do they put text? Like, what are the best practices? I just copy that, paste that over here, and tell it these are the best practices. So let me just write it. I'm not using Perplexity here. I'm not going to use deep research. That's going to take time. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to say, can we include the best practices of UI, UX, and other things that I'm not considering for such an app before we move forward? So let's see what it gives me. Considering best practices for an AI relationship management app. So here's the best practices. It's going to say these are the principles, the progression, disclosure, jobs to be done, flows, crystal clear AI explainability, and so on. And yeah, so it's giving a bunch of things over here. You're going to go through them, you're going to read them if you're convinced with everything that you're reading, because this is not going to be an app I'm going to push to production and so on. I'm just going to take you through the process. So if you're convinced with everything over here, you can go ahead and say, I don't like this part, I like this part, and whatnot. But if you're convinced, let's assume we're convinced, we finish this task. Okay, amazing. The third task is we need to develop 3 main key documents, and you're gonna ask O3 to just create it for us. If you're not gonna read them, fine. I highly suggest you do read them. But if you're not gonna read them, it's completely okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna do this so that LLM itself understands exactly what we are working with over here. And another point I would mention, for example, if you're gonna use Cursor, we're gonna use Cursor in a bit. I'm gonna show you how you're gonna put this into Cursor and use Cursor to fix everything around. But if you're going to use Cursor, some people recommend and say, why not do this all on Cursor on Claude Code? Because it's going to have context in that way. You can do that. It works. I'm just showing you this process so you see it in granular details, how you can do it manually. Once you master this process over here, then you can do it on Cursor, because that's more like you won't see much of the details as well. You know how the hammer and the nail kind of machine analogy over here. So this is the hammer and nail before we go into the machine. So we're now going to go and generate PRDs. Let's say now, amazing idea. Now generate a minimal PRD for me out of this. Include the features using the Moscow method. I didn't caps it, but it's going to understand. So minimal PRD, Moscow scoped. Give power users, founders, recruiters, one place to remember every relationship, then act on it fast. Target audience are these people. I can change it to SMEs for this case, but let's assume we're going to do it for these guys. And then the scope is the must haves and why should have. This is the Moscow method. So the must haves is unified contact ingestion, okay, AI meeting prep card, AI search, interest extraction and timeline, privacy controls and delete my data flow, and so on. Should have this, could have this, won't have this. So ideally, I wouldn't care about these at this point. I would care about the first 2 and try to implement the first 2 since it's an MVP. So the success metrics are as follows. The highlight timeline, okay, great. So what you're going to do now is you're going to come here. We finished with the PRD. Let's now create an MVP plan. Okay, you can tell it. You can go and refine, by the way, but okay, amazing. That's right. Amazing. Now can you generate an MVP plan out of this, and mainly out of the must-haves and should-haves? So let's see what happens. Okay, 6-week MVP development plan. Focus on these 2 as I mentioned. The alignment is this. Okay. And the design tokens are this. Amazing. Okay. And stand-ups, okay, the backend and so on and so on. And the sprint is going to be this. Okay, amazing. A very important point that's popping up to me. I know if I go into details, I'm going to see other things that's going to pop out. But for you, as you're going through this, okay, you write, okay, great. But I don't want to do the backend now and here. Just keep it front end focused. And this is very important because the way these tools work together. If you're doing it all, let's say on Cursor and Claude Code, you can go with this approach. But since we're going to go on Lovable, I would keep it Lovable focused, front end focused, then introduce the back end to it. And this is out of experience where when I create apps, some apps at the beginning started to break very easily. And the reason is that I'm pushing too much towards the wrong app. And this is a very important point. Sequencing is very important. And this is why I'm showing you this video. And what you do within each phase is very important as well. So let's see. No databases, no cloud functions, and so on. Amazing. Okay, the design is here. And yep, yep, yep. So a very important point that I want to mention is that for branding, the look and feel of the app, you can do two things. You can go on Dribble or any website you like. You just copy or take a screenshot of the website, drop it in here, say, follow the branding, the font, the style of these kind of things, or you can tell it just figure it out yourself, or you can have something that you prefer in terms of your branding, your company, and so on. So that's something important you could do as well. It's optional, but I'm just going to keep that for you. Amazing. So it gave me this. This is the MVP plan. So the next is, can you give me the UI development plan for this in details? And I'm going to put an important point over here just because some of you may be thinking about, okay, what's the cost of all of this and doing this? So Lovable gives you 5 free credits. By the time we are watching this, this is how it is right now. It may change in the future, but it gives you 5 free credits daily. So what you could do is, and then let's talk about ChatGPT. This is, you need the paid plan for this. And for Cloud Sonnet, you're going to have access to that, but I think it's limited. Opus, you need the paid plan. So this is like $20. Sonnet is Opus is $20, I think. This $25, so $65 almost over here. But if you're gonna do this the free route, what you can do is you're gonna say, okay, give me the UI development plan for this in details, and keep it limited to 5 prompts based on the 5 credits I have today for Lovable, and then give me another 5 prompts for tomorrow if you're going to come tomorrow and continue it, or if you're going to want to finish it today, you can say, okay, this is the 5 prompts for today. Just give me a working demo. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on the idea until tomorrow, and then we're going to work on other things. So there are workarounds of this, and I'm going to take that route as well, assuming that you don't have. I have the subscription, but assuming you don't have and I don't have it. So this is what I'm going to do. Can you give me the full UI development plan for this in details? And note that I have the free plan on Lovable. And so I finished my 10 credits today, but I just have 5 credits today. And can you so can you chunk this up to that? Amazing. So let's see what happens. Thinking. Okay. I think I'm gonna change the name. So, okay, authentication. So, very important. Let's go back to our checkpoint over here, which is this. So, we finished this part. We have UI development plan, MVP plan, and this, the PRD plan. Amazing. And now let's focus on the UI development plan. Very important point is don't include the backend, as I mentioned. And point number 2 is start with the shell, meaning that start with the complete structure when you tell Lovable to create this app for you. Like, just create a structure. Now let's fill out these tabs in, if it's a dashboard or if it's a page or however it is. So let's go back a bit. And I think I'm going to change one thing here. So, okay, it's using different colors over here. Okay, let's change the name. Change the name and remove anything related to the backend, and do not restrict / constrain it in terms of branding. Keep it neutral. So let's see what happens over here. And the reason I'm doing this is that I don't want it to copy someone else's names. And point number 2 is I don't want it to have any overcomplicated at the very beginning. And point number 3 is I don't want it to add too much of the colors and so on, then when you come to change it later on, like white works like if you're going to change it later on, but if you have like this type of color, this type of font here and there, it may be hard to align and change it all together. So this is how it's chunked up in terms of the UI development plan. Okay, call the web app. Let's something else. Okay, I'm not even gonna think about the day. Name something else, something other than Pali, and be creative there. And give me the 5 prompts in details for Lovable. So now we're making that jump from PRD and everything we created, and we're gonna take it to Lovable. So you can see how this app is developing slowly. So amazing. So it's changed the name. I'm not sure what the name is. So Weave. It's called Weave now. So you're building this. This is the auth shell and layout. And then there's a dashboard and skeleton. There's a contact profile. There's a global command panel and search. Amazing. And notification center and settings. That's 5 prompts. Of course, if you have the subscription, you can go as much as you want, but let's start beginning and build this out. So we finished. Let's go back to the checklist. We finished this, and now let's build out the front end shell and other things. So let's come here, Lovable, copy, paste, start. Let's see what happens. So we're building an app called Weave Canvas UI. So this is of course going to take time, but as this goes through it, I think it's going to be best use of my time and to explain to you over here. Practical considerations. So I've seen a lot of questions on YouTube about different things when you come to build this out. One being there's no roadmap to actually, or what's the sequence of building this thing out, and two, a bunch of questions. When I told Claude to make this out, it answered the questions, but I'm going to give you the answers. They may be different than the answers over here. So first question you may have, okay, why not do this in N8N? To be honest, I've tested this out with clients, and clients, even though they're not tech savvy, they have no clue about the tech, even though they're scared at the very beginning as well with code, they prefer this over N8N and going into every single node and just pulling these nodes together. And when they have an issue, go back into the node and so on. And point number two is when I use N8N applications, the problem is it just breaks when it's in on heavy applications, and you need to go back, debug the process and see everything, while this takes care of everything. And then when string came out, string.com, it came out now, like it made N8N kind of less valuable because string just can't do it, kind of disrupted it. So I think this is over. So that's the first question over here. We're going to go through these questions as we wait for these two tasks to finish, just to use our time better, but let's see what it created over here. So welcome to Weave. This is Weave. Okay, let's say click sign in. We signed in. This is the dashboard over here. Let's see what's okay. It's signed in. Amazing. This is dashboard. We have search and we have settings. I'm not sure if this is by design, it's still loading, or there's an error. We're going to check that out in a bit. But this is the first prompt. It's done. So let's go to the second prompt. I just want to follow this exact process right now. I would use my more credits just to figure this out, what's happening over here. And sometimes you're going to face such issues. But in this case, I'm just going to use my second prompt, and we're going to just move on with the process, and we're going to see what happens. So yes, 3D design animations. Okay, amazing. So let's keep it working, and let's go to the next question over here, which is why not use Cursor AI agent or Claude Code? This shouldn't be Cursor Code, but Claude Code over here, or vice versa. You can use Cursor if you want to have it all in one place. I recommend that if you bring Claude Code within Cursor. I've seen some of your comments saying that now Cursor rug pulled everyone. They changed the pricing all suddenly. Nobody's using it. Why is everyone making videos about Cursor? One of the comments I've seen, yes, I'm watching. So I'd say you can use the IDE because it's simple to use. But if you don't want to pay for them, don't pay. Pay for Claude Code. Bring Claude Code within Cursor. Use Claude Code to work on the files. So I'd recommend Claude Code, but you can use anything you want. Like it's a personal preference. If you still love Cursor, do it. I don't mind. I don't have a love or hate relationship with these guys. It's just using the tools. So that's the second question answered. Let's see what happened over here. Amazing. Okay, there. Sign in. Okay, yeah. Now it's adding things over here. So let's see what's added. It's added. Welcome back. Here's an overview of your connections. There's this person, upcoming meeting. Let's click on it. It does not work. Amazing. So this is point number 2. Very important to point, and you're going to see in the practical notes and considerations as well when I'm going to mention this, is that don't expect that you're just going to create it once and it's going to work over and over again, or it's going to work perfectly. Of course you're going to get errors, of course you're going to get bugs. We're not at that stage right now where it's going to be super perfect when you just give it one prompt and you're going to tell it just go figure it out. So amazing. This up to now, it's fine. Let's go further with this. So we finished prompt 1, we finished prompt 2, and now let's go on prompt number 3. So over here, there should be a dashboard, right? Yeah, I don't think it created a dashboard. Anyways, let's just continue. Let's see. And this is good that's happening because as part of the process, you need to understand that it's gonna go wrong. It's gonna mess up. You're gonna face errors. It's completely normal. I could have what I could have done is I could have created this, not showing you the live build, and went back and forth with it to a point where it's working and show you this is functional, this is what I did, and so on. But you need to understand this is part of the process. Like that's where we are at the state of AI right now. And the more you refine it, of course, the more you do it, the more like you're gonna get it right. The higher probability it is you're gonna get it right. And they have agent mode right now, which they added very recently. I think you go up here and you just add it. And with agent mode, I think it's gonna have less errors, but nevertheless, let's continue this route. The point is, I want to show you the full process. So let's go to the next question. Why use these tools I mentioned in particular? Why use, and as I mentioned, why use Claude and Opus over here, or ChatGPT, Perplexity, Lovable Deb, where you can use Bolt or other things? Why use Supabase and not different databases like Pinecone or whatever? Why use GitHub? Why use Cursor? Why use Vercel, not Netlify or Railway? I think there's a lot of tools as well. Personal preference, that's point number 1. 2, right now how I do it is I go into the Cursor IDE, open up Claude Code on Max Plan, and just work there, plan there, prototype there, build a PRD there, do everything there, and run parallel agents where they all work on one thing, so you get things done fast. We can do that. And you can create also the pages. For example, this checklist over here that you're seeing right now was created in Claude. So it's possible. I didn't need Lovable for this. It's possible. It's just I want to show you the granular details of how we've evolved from first years back talking about prompt engineering, how can we prompt these AI tools? And then we move to, okay, we have these different fragmented pieces of tools. And now we're moving to a stage where it's like all coming together in terms of one IDE using one thing, which is Claude Code. So let's see what happened over here. This continued. Add now. I've created a profile page for this guy. Amazing. This is the profile page. Connected since in Dubai AI Week. Okay, it's talking to me. So these are the different interests that he has. Let's see, add more. Okay, you can add these different things. We can't click on this. The emails he sent, let's say, this is the emails this person sent. This is the meetings we've had on these different dates. These are the messages that he sent maybe on WhatsApp or different channels. We go in the back to dashboard. Dashboard does not exist. Wrong tag over there. So that's something. For example, you're going to tell it fix it later on, but I'm not going to get it distracted in other things right now. Okay, the dashboard is done. This card is done. Let's go back to here. That's prompt number 3. Yes. And now prompt number 4, global command palette and search. So as I'm looking at this, it did not give me the full thing. And this is where you're going to fix it before coming to Lovable. It did not give me the full thing in terms of, okay, it gave me the skeleton, it gave me these parts, but it kind of messed up in a bit of details over here. And that's completely fine. Let's go with the process and see what happens. So as it creates this, let's go to the next question. The next question is, why not use Gemini for planning due to large context window? That's a question many people had. Of course you can do that. But based on preference and experience, as I say, Claude Opus does a really good job in terms of planning the PRDs and the documents. And Gemini, if you want to fit all those documents together in one PDF, like you combine the PDF, feed it to Gemini and say how congruent or how does these documents flow together, and then you're going to get a better answer over there than giving it a ChatGPT o3 or whatever other tool. Again, it comes down to preference. Let's go back to this. It's still not done. So you could take the next question as well. So you need to be patient. Okay, this is very important. As you can see right now as well, you need to be patient. You don't, like, I've seen people say to ChatGPT and these other tools, make better, make beautier, beautify this process, fix the UX. That does not work. One, you need to be specific in terms of what exactly you want to fix, because we're still not at that point where they can read your mind. And point number two, be patient. It's going to make mistakes. You're going to run into errors 100%. I'm waiting for an error here, and I want to show you like what you can do in case of an error. So let's see what it did right now. So search, it's not there. Amazing. Keyboard shortcuts. Let's check again. Integrates. Okay, sign in, search. Maybe this. Okay, yeah. It's this search, not this search. So it's messing up these two icons over here. Let's see, notification doesn't work yet, but search. For example, search your network. What was that guy's name? His guy is Aiden. So so he does not show up. But there are other people that show up, as you can see. So maybe when we connect it to the database, this will show up. No contacts found. We just saw a bunch of other people, right? Alex. Not sure how this works, but it's working on and off. Amazing. Let's go back to this tool. Problem number 4, problem number 5, take this, go back into the canvas, create this. And I'm going to give it an extra prompt. I know it's kind of cheating here because we said only 5 prompts, but I'm going to give it an extra prompt just so we can fix some of these bugs, so you can see what's happening and how you can fix this. By the way, sometimes the fix is very, very easy. It's just like one function connecting it to another, and just all of it connects and clicks. So that's that. Let's come here and let's talk or take another question. Okay, patience, we're patient, we're going through the process. So can non-technical people use this workflow? So this up to now looks normal. We're talking to it. It may be a bit intimidating and scary, but once you get into Cursor, it can get really scary when you see all these code lines and so on, colors changing and it asking you to accept and so on. And yes, non-technical people can get accustomed to this. And I actually believe once you understand this, if you're non-technical at all, have no clue, have no programming background, don't know how everything works, I'd take this as a learning experience. These tools are not tools that are only going to execute for you, but you're going to be constantly asking them why, what, how, or what, or even if you don't know what the point of Claude Code is, or or let's say Cursor, what you're going to say is, what can I do with you? Like, ask Claude Code, what can I do with Claude Code? Like, just ask them what to do. Amazing. So this is still working. I think it's done. So let's see what the result is. Refresh. Sign in, search does not work, settings work. So search, and these two icons have been like messed up, as you can see. And that's why it's important to test it. And here, integrations, we're going to integrate Gmail, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Danger Zone, delete my data. Let's see if this works. Amazing, this works. I'm not going to go into Danger Zone. So what did it add over here? Notification center. Click on notifications. Amazing. So we get notifications over here. You can send Sarah a message, Marcus a message. You can dismiss, okay. Nudge dismissed, undo. You can bring it back. Amazing. These are 2 X's. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. You can send them a message, pretend DM sent. That's something, pretend. So let's pretend that the DM was sent to this person. And yeah, this is the app. We just built out Weave. Now, what we can do is, one, you can fix the UI. Two, you can connect it to a database. Three, you can push it to GitHub. Right now I'm giving you the options and I'm going to give you the right sequence I would take this. And four, we would just go on with this Lovable tool over here until we get to a point that we really like what we have, or 80% there, and then we take it to Cursor and fix it. So based on the checklist, we have Claude Code over here. Let's go back to our checklist. We are here, we're building the front end, no back end yet. And we did that. We kind of did that. And for time purposes and just for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume we fixed all this. And I'm going to assume that I went on with with Lovable and I gave it the prompts and I told it do X, Y, Z, and it fixed it. And I'm very happy with the results I got up to now. So if that's the point, and where I'm really happy now with the front end that we have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect a database. I'm not going to start by pushing it to GitHub yet. I'm going to connect it to Supabase. And here's from experience, I'm going to give you a note. I tried taking this exact code and sending it to Cursor, and I tried also doing the Supabase over here. Both can work, but it's easier over here for some reason. For some reason, Lovable gets Supabase better than Cursor. Claude Code does it better than both. But if you're gonna, before you take it there, I would manage the Supabase over here, connect Supabase. Let's see what happens. It's gonna tell me this. I'm gonna connect the project. I created a project just for the sake of this, which is YT idea. I didn't know what the idea would have been, so I just kept it YT idea. And I'm just connecting the project. It says connected. So let's close. Let's see what happens. So it's working, and it's that easy how you can connect Supabase. So now what you can do is you can create the authentication where you can get the magic link and so on, user logins and so on. You can store real data. You can add edge functions. That's a bit advanced for now. You can add row level security and all that cool stuff. So ideally, what I would do next over here is not the login, because I tested out locally yet first. But the first point I would do is I would say connect all the data that we have over here. Let's say the data for Aiden. Aiden has interests. He has a name. He has this thing over here. There's a profile picture. There's a bunch of emails, a bunch of meeting notes, and a bunch of messages over here. So ideally, I would tell it create a table for Aiden, or the profile cards for every single individual on Supabase, where, and I think my API is open here. That's why I'm not going to click this. But yeah, so tell it that create a table for every single individual, and just make it connect with this app. So it does not give me mock data, but more of it uses data from the Supabase itself. And this is you going on and off with Lovable until it gets it right. And you're going to see it's going to get it right. And then what you're going to do, and let's go back to the checklist over here. And then what you're going to do, you integrate and verify everything's good. And you're going to verify again in Cursor, because I want to get into Cursor now. But you're going to integrate and verify in Cursor. Then you're going to connect and sync Codebase to GitHub. That's very easy to do. I'm going to show you exactly how now. You come here, click on this GitHub, connect project, your account, and done. It's on GitHub now. And what this simply means for non-technical people, you just sent this full website to somewhere on the internet where you can access from a different place, which is on Cursor. So let's see this checklist again. So it's on GitHub now. So let's go back on the checklist. Now we synced it on GitHub. The code base is on GitHub. Now we're going to move to Cursor. I'm going to open the app and we're going to open this exact application on Cursor. Okay, amazing. Now we're on Cursor. Now I want to show you how we can open this project here on Cursor, the exact thing that we developed up to now. So just imagine the checklist with me, because I can't open it from here, but I'm going to clone the repo. I'm going to go here from GitHub. I'm going to click on Weave, and it's just going to tell me where to save it, serve it anywhere. And you can see it's saving it. And yes, open. And here is the project. So and this is what I meant by it may look scary at the very beginning, because people see all this. Okay, the files are here, the code will appear over here, and there's a terminal at the bottom over here, and there's this thing and it seems like an AI over here. What do I do exactly? I'm going to show you exactly what to do. So don't be intimidated. Once you learn this, you're never going to go back. So since I'm on Windows, it's much easier on Mac. If you want to bring Claude Code in here, I think it's just one line. You can Google that. But since I'm on Windows, you need to do some extra steps. But in that case, let me just write this. So I open up this Linux Ubuntu thing. And what you're going to do, you're going to start with this. You're going to say Claude. If you're on Mac, it's going to tell you something like this. And this is me bringing Claude within this workspace so I can tell it, look at this code and so on. And this is what I meant. You can do it all from here. The exact process we went through right now, you can do it all from here. And it's going to have context by itself. But in our case, let's do this. And it says, welcome to Claude Code. Claude is within our project over here, which is a project that we just created. And if you think about it, Claude does not know what we did so far, what are we doing, and so on. Two things you can do. You can bring one, the PRD that we created on O3, on ChatGPT O3, and create it as an MD file and put it over here. So you can say, refer to this and understand what we just created. That's one way, and that's what I do. Or you can put it over here and talk to this. So the difference between these two, it's the same thing. This is much smarter. You can use any of these as you want. If you hate cursor because everything it's done, just close this over here and don't talk to it ever. But if you want to use both, you can alternate between both and so on. So it depends on you. So what you're going to do now is, since we don't have the PRD file, I'm just going to assume it's over there. I don't want to bring it because we're on this recording this video and so on. So we're going to say slash. There's a bunch of tools you can do. Don't get intimidated or scared by this. This is very easy. It's just like typing things. So slash init. So it's analyzing the code base, is going through these folders. It's going to create a Claude MD. MD is a file, which is a markdown file, which is essentially a document. It's going to go through this code. It's going to look, it created a to-do list. It's saying, okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to understand this. I'm going to find this. I'm going to analyze the structure here. What did you do so far? And then I'm going to write a similar documentation just so I understand exactly what you have done so far. So this is essentially Claude Code saying that I'm going to go through everything and understand. And in the meantime, you can go here and talk to this. Okay, you can say, what should I do now with this code base? Assuming that I have no clue what I want to do. So what should I do right now with this code base? So what's your goal? Do you want to add new features? Do you want to fix bugs? Do you want to improve performance? Do you want to do other things? Do you want to check this out and so on? So very important point, and just so I don't forget this point, every time you make an update, you do git commit and git push. So it gets pushed on the GitHub, the place that we stored all this code, and automatically it will be updated on Lovable Dev. You're going to see a button at the bottom up here saying that there has been a new issue of the code and it's been updated. So let's see what happened here. It now understands. It says, I'm going to create this file for you. So the file is like saying that, okay, you have the dependencies. This is the tech stack you used. You have a dashboard shell. You have a login page. You have a dashboard layout. You have a top navigation bar. You have a sidebar. Like, it went through the code to understand what exactly it is. And you want to create that MD file? I say yes. Now it's creating. You see this MD file that appeared over here. It created that MD file. Amazing. Now Claude Code understands the code. You can say it, fix this, add this. Let me just give you an example, just for example's sake. The first thing I do usually, I come here and I install the Supabase MCP. And what an MCP is essentially a model context protocol. Is it connects with Supabase, which is our database, since we use that in Lovable. I don't want to go into Supabase and start fixing things. I want it by itself to do what it wants to do and what's needed to be done, instead of me going there and being practical. So I want to minimize my involvement as much as possible while making sure it's doing the right job. So now let's take this example, and you're very non-technical and you don't know what's just happening, and this is just too much words on the screen. The first thing you could do is, okay, Claude told you I created this MD file. So this document focuses on the big. I wanted to ask it, why did you create this? But it just mentioned this over here. So this document created the big picture architecture, understanding for future productive quickly in the code pace, and so on. So you can ask it. The point I was trying to make is, you can ask it what you want. Like, if you don't know what Claude Code is used for, you can say, what can I use you for? So back to the MCP topic, you can connect to different MCPs. There's the Playwright MCPs. There's an MCP directory. You can go on Cursor directory, see the MCPs. There's a lot of other websites. I think Slithery is another website, and so on. So there are many websites that you can use. So here you can just fix the code, add features, and do all of that. The first thing I do is I install the Supabase MCP. If you have no clue what and how to install it, you can say, I want to install the Supabase MCP. I wanted to make a mistake that I did when I was doing this a couple of days back, where I told it, can you install the Supabase MCP? It said it didn't get MCP. It called it mission control something. So it's sometimes it doesn't get it. So MCP. So what I would do is I would open this as a model context protocol, just so it gets it here. And sometimes it's good to bring Supabase in here as well, the same way we brought this. So it's now explaining itself what this MCP is. So you need a MCP taskmaster to initialize an MCP in your project, and so on. Initiate the status and so on. No, I want the Supabase MCP. Supabase MCP. Go to their website. What usually I would do is I would bring the link and put it in here, but just for the video's sake, go to. I'm going to check it can do this. Go to the website and see how to install it. It's there. So you can just talk to it like a human. So searching web MCP installation instructions. Here's the official setup. The prerequisites, you need to have Node. Don't be intimidated by all of this. That's telling you need to do this. You need your personal access token over here. Give me your personal access token. You can get it. The API essentially can get it from Supabase. Get that token, give it to it. It's saying that, let me see if it asks me for it. Open your AI tool, go to MCPs. We don't want to do that. And what I usually do is I say, do it. Now it's going to tell me, give me your personal access token. So let it go through everything, let it face issues, let it learn, and then let it add a couple of things. I just don't want it to show my API over here. But this is how you can install an MCP. Like if you have no clue how to install an MCP, just ask it to. Just tell me, what do you need from me? It's going to tell me this documents. And sometimes, if you're not using Claude Code over here, sometimes Cursor tells you, okay, go click on this button, do this, do this. Just tell it, do it for me. I don't want to think. I don't want to do it myself. You just go and do it. Of course, you can get advanced with this tool. There are rules you can put and so on. It's just I want to show you how to do this MCP part. And Playwright MCP, for example, as this works, Playwright MCP, it's an MCP that you can install, that you can go capture images, look at websites, and so on. So let's just stop this. So you can capture and look at images and so on, and capture websites, click on buttons. And so it's kind of a browser. You control your browser, tell it, go on this website, log in, capture or take a screenshot and drop it over here. So what you can do on a daily basis, you can take screenshots just to see how a website is changing or how the design is changing based on X, Y, Z factors and so on. That's one use case of Playwright. Another MCP is, let's say, Stripe. You can connect to Stripe and say, use the Stripe MCP to make a payment link and add it within our dashboard pricing page and create a pricing page for that dashboard. And let me see how it looks like. So coming to the point of let me see how it looks like, you can tell it, I don't know. I don't know how to see this. How can I see this? Essentially, it's deploy on the internet and look at this and as a local host and so on. I'm just talking to it as if I don't know. I don't know how to see this. How can I see the updates we make as we go on? Great question. So you do this, you do this, you do git control, and okay, it didn't get me over here. Let's say, can you tell me how to deploy it to local host as well? Yeah, so it's telling me do this, do this, do this, then click on this website, and then you're gonna have a server, then you can look at it and so on. So this is another way of doing things. I would go and install, but this video will get super long if I go into the details of how can I install all of this. But let me just show you one use case over here that you can do just so you have the full picture. So the final point in the checklist, since I can't bring it up, is deploy it on Vercel or deploy it in anywhere you want. You can do that very easily if you go on Vercel. Just connect your GitHub. Every update you make over here is going to be deployed on the internet on your main domain or another domain that you use, which is the Vercel domain, and that's free as well. This is free, by the way. This is paid. So what we can do now is the final functionality I want to show you. Okay, in the sidebar of the web app weave, I want to add an analytics or admin or whatever, just for this example's sake, analytics tab. Can you do that for me? Searching where the sidebar is. So after every single step, I highly recommend you to check its work. Right now, I kept it auto on, so I see it's creating the code for it. Side navigation is fixing things. This is the part where people get scared. Don't be scared. You don't need to know what's happening. You can even just close your eyes at this point and just click accept all and just close these. Imagine it did not happen and continue your live coding this. So you can now click on the analytics tab in your sidebar and see the placeholder. If you want to add real analytics feature charts, let me know what kind of data or visuals do you want to see. So this is how simple it is. And the only thing you need to do from this point onwards is I gave you the full sequence of things. It's just refining the process in terms of spending enough time at each stage, at each phase, fixing things and going through the process slowly until you get to the point where this is really functional and you can push it out. And from experience, you can do it in 1 to 2 hours. You can push a single feature, a single app out every single hour. But let's just take a weekend. You can do this in a full weekend, 100%. So this is how you create these MVPs really fast. Of course, you can do all this using Claude Code and inside the Cursor ID. If you hate Cursor, you can use VS Code. But the point is, this is like how prompt engineering was in the past. Prompt engineers had that advantage, that massive edge when AI agents came out because they were prompt engineers in the past. And today, this skill right now that I just showed you, this roadmap of doing things together, is a skill that you need for the next thing. So you have that massive edge when it comes. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.